sure. I thought I had.
That looks like you have now. Nice. Right, well, when we're ready, let's come down to the mat and just find a comfortable position. And if you're happy to bring it close to the eyes, just close the eyes down. And take a moment to rest in, land into the mat. And I realise that right, hopefully that has worked. I realised that I didn't put my mic on. Right, sorry. Let's land into the mat and just finding a rested position. And just becoming aware of the parts of the body that are in contact with the mat and the spaces in between. Noticing how the back of the head feels, the backs of the shoulders, the calves, the heels. And then taking your mind to your breath and just gently breathing in and out through the nose. No need to change the breath. Just become aware. And as always, as we move through the class, just making sure that you keep your body safe. And if there are any aches or pains or niggles, just moving mindfully through the different poses and postures. And if anything really hurts and feels painful, then please come out and keep yourself safe. So with your mind still on the breath, on the next inhale, breathe in a little deeper, and filling up the belly, filling up the chest. And as you exhale, just exhale a little bit slower, allowing the chest to contract, the belly to relax, and emptying the lungs of air. And then take another deep breath in, breathing into the belly, expanding the chest. Maybe hold at the top. And then resting, relaxing, and exhaling the air out. And then let's bring a bend to the knees, bring the soles of the feet into the mat. And if it's comfortable in the arms, bring the arms out to shoulder height. And with the feet about hip width apart, on the inhale, allow both knees to drop over to the right hand side. And as you exhale, bring them back up. Inhaling down to the left and exhaling back up. Inhaling back down to the right and exhaling up. And inhaling down to the left, exhaling up. And this time as your knees relax down to the right, we're going to hold them there for a moment. Maybe taking the gaze down towards the left hand, so the knees are one way and the head is the other. And if you want to lift up that lower foot and hook it over that top knee just for a bit of an extra stretch, then you can. And then let's unhook, bring the knees back to center and then take it over to the other side. So knees fall down to the left, gaze goes towards the right, and maybe picking up that bottom foot and hooking it over the top knee, just to encourage a bit more of a twist in that spine. And then let's unhook and come back to the center. We'll gently bring our knees into the chest. Just gently rocking from side to side, just feeling that lower back pressing into the floor. And then let's lower the left foot down, back down to the mat. That foot can stay on the mat with the knee bent, or you can stretch your leg out along the mat, so whichever it feels good in that left leg. And we're going to take that right knee, still holding it in towards our chest, and we're just going to rock and sway from side to side, bringing some movement into that hip, and then maybe bringing the right hand onto the right knee and bringing some circles in and around. And let's reverse the direction, and we'll get some movement into that hip joint. Lovely. And then bring that knee back in towards the chest and taking hold of your band. We're going to pop the band around the sole of the foot and bring the right foot up towards the ceiling. So just taking a moment here, making sure that right knee isn't locked out. So there should be a bit of softness in that knee joint. And just as much as you can, relax in this position. I'm going to take another moment here. I'm feeling that lovely stretch through the hamstring. And then we're going to pass both sides of the strap over to the right hand. So same hand as foot that's in the air. And then left hand maybe goes onto the left hip, and just allow that right leg to fall out towards the right side. Just for a moment, feeling how that stretch has changed. It's probably moved to the inside of the right thigh now. Lovely. Let's take one more moment here. And then gently, with the help of the strap, let's bring that right leg back up and switch the straps over to the left hand. And keeping the right hip on the floor, just letting that right leg past the midline of the body and just sway over towards the left side. It won't go very far because we're trying to keep that right hip grounded. Just feel that stretch move to the outside of the right leg, and we'll spend one more moment here. And then let's bring that foot or leg back up to center. We're going to bend, we're going to unhook the strap, and we're going to swap to the other side. So we're going to bring the left knee in towards the chest. Right foot can stay grounded with the knee bent, or maybe stretch the right foot or leg out along the mat. And then let's bring some movement into the left hip this time. So we're swaying the leg from side to side. And then let's take some circles. So left hand onto left knee. And let's do some circles in one direction. And then let's take it in the other direction. Just bringing some lovely movement into that hip joint. Always feels good. Then bring the knee back to stillness. Just taking hold of that strap again, and we are going to tuck and hook the strap around the sole of the left foot, and bringing the left foot up towards the ceiling. Straightening the left knee as far as is comfortable, but make sure that you haven't locked that knee out. So a bit of softness in the knee as we feel that lovely stretch in the back of the left leg. Just take a moment to relax here. The more we relax, the more our muscles can respond to these stretches. And then let's bring both sides of the strap into the left hand, so same hand as foot. Maybe right hand goes onto the hip to encourage it to stay grounded, and just let the left leg float out to the left side. Just feeling a stretch down the inside of the left thigh. Take one moment here, just checking in that you are still breathing. That breath is just gently flowing in and out. That left knee isn't locked. And then with the help of the strap, let's bring that left leg back up, switch the strap over to the right hand, maybe left hand goes onto the hip, and then let's allow the left leg just to cross the midline And just feeling a stretch through the outside of that left leg now. And we'll spend one more moment here. And then let's release and pop the strap down. And let's come into our banana pose now, which, well, it's banana or moon. So we'll lay with our legs nice and straight. We'll bring our hands up and over the head, stretching into the back of the mat. Your hips are going to stay still. Bring your left hand to the left edge of the mat and your left foot to the left edge of your mat. The right foot comes to join the left. The right hand comes to join the left. And we come into that moon pose or banana pose. Just feeling a lovely stretch through the right side of the body. So just creating space, particularly between sort of right hip and right fingers. And then let's release and come back to the center, and let's go on to the other side. So right foot to the right edge of the mat, right hand to the right edge of the mat, and then the left foot joins the right and the left hand joins the right. You might want to cross your left foot over, or you might be happy with them just kind of laying next to each other. And then just creating that lovely moon shape or banana shape, and feeling an opening through the left side of the body. Still gently breathing. We'll take one more moment here. And then let's release and come back to center. We're going to bring knees into the chest. One last little rock. And then we're going to, in a way that is safe and comfortable, come up to seated. And we're going to go into our cat-cow now. So if knees are not comfortable on the mat and you want to stay in a seated position to extend and flex the spine, then you're very welcome to stay seated. Otherwise, let's come over into our all fours tabletop position, and just checking in that your knees are underneath your hips, your hands are underneath your shoulders, you're not kind of slumping into the mat. Make sure you're pushing the mat away. Fingers are nice and spaced, so fingers look like starfish. And as we inhale, we extend the spine, so gaze up, tailbone up, and as you exhale, rounding and doming through that back. So inhaling and extending, dipping the back down, and then pushing the back up towards the ceiling. As we exhale, let's do that one more time. We're extending with the breath, so inhaling and extend, and exhale and round and dome. So you've got two choices now. You can stay here, which is your easier choice. And if you want to stay here and bring some circles into the body and stay on all fours, then you're very welcome to. If you feel like you want a bit more of a fiery practice and a bit more of a challenge, then from here, we're going to step the hands a touch forwards. We're going to tuck toes, lift our hips up and come into a downward dog. So your aim is to get your spine as straight as possible. So don't worry about straightening the legs and hunching the back. Bend the knees and bring your tailbone up towards the ceiling and the crown of your head down towards the mat. We're not going to stay here long if you want to pedal your feet out. So bending one knee and pushing the other heel to the floor. Bending one knee, pushing the other heel to the floor. You can do that a couple of times. If you're in downward dog, we're going to float ourselves forwards into plank. So creating a nice straight line between heels and crown of the head. It's quite intense, so feel free to drop the knees. And if you're still on all fours, come and meet us on your front on the mat. So lower yourselves down, however is comfortable for you. And let's meet at on our front on the mat. and bring your elbows underneath your shoulders, and let's come into a Sphinx pose. If you want a bit more, you can push your hands into the mat and lift your chest a bit further up, or it might be that this feels good for you today. I'm just feeling a stretch through the front. I'll take one moment here. And then bring your hands a little bit further forwards and elbows a little bit further away. You might want to move your left hand so that it's in a different place to help you balance. Maybe move it so it's more in front of your face. You're going to bring your right foot up towards your bottom, and then you're going to sweep your right hand behind and take hold of that foot. Now from here, you can keep your chest up, or you might want to come down a little bit further. You may want to put your forehead on the floor. And we're just going to, say rest. This is our half bow pose. So as we're here, we're just going to spend another moment here. Let's see if you can bring some relaxation in. So check into what your glutes are doing, what the muscles in your bottom are doing. Try to relax them. And if you relax, you might be able to find that you can bring your chest a bit further down. And maybe bring your foot a little bit closer to your bottom. Let's release. And we're going to switch sides. So place the right hand in front. Maybe hand goes in front of the face just to help you balance a little bit. Left foot towards your bottom. Sweep the left hand round, taking hold of that foot. Maybe you start with your chest nice and high. And maybe as you begin to relax, so relax the bottom, relax the other leg, and that will probably allow a bit more movement. It's that conscious relaxing. Your muscles will naturally tighten to try to protect you because you're not used to being in this position. So consciously relaxing just helps the muscles stretch a bit more. So on those exhales, can you relax a bit further? Can you bring the chest down a bit more? Can you bring the forehead to the mat? And let's spend one more moment here. And let's release. We're going to bring hands underneath shoulders and push ourselves back gently into child's pose. So bottom back towards your heels, hands, arms stretched out in front, forehead down to the mat, if that is available. And then bringing hands next to the head and gently bringing yourself back up. We are going to step those hands forwards. And let me have a think about which side is best. We're going to step left foot in between the two hands and come into that low lunge. So if you want to bring that back knee off the mat, then you can do, and you can keep the two hands on the mat. You might want to leave that back knee grounded and lift the upper body up, and maybe sweeping the hands up above the head if that feels good. Just checking in that you can see those toes over that front knee. Just protect that knee, make sure you can see the toes. We're going to sweep the hands down to land back onto the mat, and you're going to bring that left foot over towards the right side of the mat and allow the left knee to come over to the left side of the mat. So your shin is on the mat and then bring your bottom down. And we find ourselves in stag pose here. So just check in. Everyone's hips are different. So you might be able to get both legs at sort of 90 degrees. It might be that one foot is further towards your body. So finding a comfortable position. And this is the easier option here. So you can stay here and you can stay upright, or you can bring yourself sort of over that front leg. And it doesn't really matter where the body is going. You're aiming probably to feel a stretch in the left glute muscle. So in your left bottom, the left side of your bottom, bringing yourself forwards. So have a bit of a play with what feels good. And you're very welcome to stay here and just explore what feels good for you in this position. Or we can come into our pigeon pose, which means you're going to lift your hips up off the floor and you're going to aim to stretch the back leg out behind you. Maybe land in the knee. You don't have to. You can tuck your toes under if the knee isn't comfortable on the mat. So you can tuck your toes under and keep that back leg lifted, or you can land the back leg onto the mat. It's a really intense pose. If you want to put a cushion or something underneath your hips, then you can. If you want to stay upright, then you can. If you want to bring the upper body forwards and bring your forearms, maybe even your head down to the mat. So just spend some time exploring what feels good for you. It is a really intense stretch. But the key is that it shouldn't be hideously painful. So if it is hideously painful, come back to a slightly easier option and just explore what feels right for you. Let's come out. So hands back onto the mat, bring yourself back up, and maybe just bringing your bottom down and swinging your legs round. That's a good way to come out, and we can just spend a moment here and maybe wriggling the legs if you need to, any movement that you need to do before we go into the other side. So we'll set ourselves up when you're ready. So we can come back onto all fours, and this time there's no need. Sometimes I sit here and I think, which side did I just do? But I can really feel the side that I just did with that one. So this time we're stepping the right foot in between the hands. We'll start with that low lunge again. So again, if you want to bring that back knee up off the floor, if that's more comfy, then you can, or keep the back knee grounded, and bringing your upper body up if you want to. Hands can stay on the thigh. We can bring the hands up above the head, just checking in that you can still see those toes. That's key here because you want to protect that front knee. So just double check that you can still see those toes. And maybe sinking hips into mat. And then let's sweep the hands down. They land either side of that front foot. The right foot comes over to the left side of the mat, maybe in towards the body a little bit. And then you're going to gently bring yourself down. So your hips, so your bottom are on the mat. I'm facing a bit away from you this time. And you can stay in this stag pose. Let me swing around so I'm facing you. You can stay in your stag pose. So your legs might be at 90 degrees if you're very flexible in the hips. Maybe you need to bring one foot in towards the body a little bit more. And maybe you're sitting and you're just exploring the position like this. Maybe you want to come forwards and you're just exploring what that feels like, and you can sway from side to side. So remember that this is your practice. So you do what feels right for you. I'll stay this way around so then you can see from the other side. I think if you want to come into pigeon, then you extend the back leg and that knee can stay lifted. If you're happy with toes being tucked, that feels quite intense. or you can land the back leg onto the mat. If you want to pop something, if you've got a block or a cushion and you want to pop that underneath, then you can always pop something underneath to support a bit more. And you can stay here and just have a play around with what this feels like. Maybe bringing elbows and forearms down towards the mat. Maybe forehead comes down. Maybe the forehead can go onto the mat. You can tuck the toes and lift the back knee. So just have some time to explore what feels right for you. And I think with everything in yoga, it's always just some things feel really easy. Some things feel super challenging. Many things get easier the more we practice. Let's spend one more moment here. And then wherever you are, find a safe way to come out. So maybe lifting the upper body up, maybe popping that hip down onto the mat, swinging the legs round. Let's take a moment here. Let's come into butterfly for a moment. So let's, wherever you are, let's meet in butterfly. So soles of feet together, back nice and straight, and just resting the knees out to the side. Pigeon is one of my favorites, but it is super duper intense. Nice. Right, let's use the hands just to ease the knees back together. We're going to come up to standing. So if you want to just stand right up, then you can do. If you wanted to come into a child's pose first, then you're welcome. Let's bring hands underneath shoulders, tuck the toes, and lift that bottom up. So double check I'm still in shot. I am. And then take a deep bend into the knees. Maybe hands come on thighs just to support you in coming up to standing. I think I'm still in shot there. Nice. Right, we did this the other day, I think. Pyramid pose. So stand towards the back of the mat, and we're going to take a step forwards about 30 centimeters or a foot. So one leg in front of the other. I think it really matters. I've got my right leg in front, but it doesn't matter if we're doing the other way. And from here, you're just going to bring a fold into the body. So if it feels too intense on your back, I'm going to give you an option in a minute. Let's come down. Your hands can stay behind you, or you can bring your hands onto the floor if that helps your balance. If you've got yoga blocks, these are fab because they just lift the floor up for you. So if you can't reach the floor, these are great because they just raise the height of the floor. You can use them whichever way you'd like. So if you've got yoga blocks and you want to use yoga blocks for this, or even hands on a chair, and just noticing where you feel that stretch down the back chain of the body. Which leg do you feel it in the most? Let's take a bend into the knees and maybe using hands on the thighs to help ourselves come up. And then we're just going to switch to the other side. So bring the other foot in front, just double check all 10 toes facing forwards. Your feet are about 30 centimeters or a foot apart. Your hands can stay behind. Your hands can be in front to support you on the floor. So there are different options here. And we're going to bring a fold into the body. And we keep going down. And if you want to bring your hands down for balance, or using those blocks to just lift the level of the floor up. And if you need to bring a bend into the knees, then that's absolutely okay. So the shape looks different for everybody. Lovely. Let's spend one more moment here. My goodness, this fire seemed like a really good idea when I started this. I think I'm actually cooking. Let's bring a bend to the knees and bring ourselves back up to standing. I'm just going to get rid of these yoga blocks. And we're going to come in to a wide-legged forward fold. So bringing your legs out to however wide is comfortable, really. We aim for all 10 toes to be facing forwards rather than feet out or in. So aim for all 10 toes to be facing forwards. You can bring a bend into the knees if you'd like, and we're going to come down into a forward fold. If your hands reach the floor, great. You can use your yoga block here as well if you want to. If you've got a block and you can't quite get your hands down to the floor, this is a really good prop to support. You might be able to straighten your knees. And then the trick is here to try to relax as much as possible, which I know is easier said than done. It might be that hands stay on the floor. You can bring hands to your ankles. You might want to bring opposite hand to opposite elbow. And we're just going to spend a moment hanging, aiming to relax the upper body, aiming to relax the upper back, relaxing through the neck. And then let's ground the hands back onto the floor. Let's put the left hand underneath the face, and we're going to sweep the right hand up towards the ceiling. So we're coming into a twist. We've got 2 feet and 1 hand on the floor, the other hand pointing up towards the ceiling. Gaze up if that feels comfortable in the neck. And then let's turn and switch to the other side. So right hand grounding on the floor and sweeping the left hand up towards the ceiling. I'll take one more moment here in this twist. And then let's unwind. And we are going to come down to a seated position. So if you want to, I think we did a yogic squat the other week. If you want to come into your yogic squat first, that's very intense on knees and hips. Feel free. If you want to come down just to a seated position, then you are very welcome to just pop your bottom on the floor. And let's come down onto the mat and stretch both legs out in front. And from here, it's quite important that we start with a nice straight back. So aim to get that back nice and straight before we fold. And as we fold, we want to keep a length through the spine. So try not to hunch down. We come up in a nice straight spined position. If you want to use your strap here to hook around your feet, then you're very welcome to use your strap. Or it might be that you're happy just without a strap, folding forwards. And we aim to keep a nice straight, well, no, it's not going to be a straight back, a length. We aim to keep a length through the spine. And we think sort of nose or crown of head going towards the toes rather than hunching round and trying to get forehead towards the knees. So always stretching forwards. Make sure those knees aren't locked. Relax through the knees. And take one more moment here. And then maybe using the hands to gently walk ourselves back up. I'm going to shuffle the bottom forwards. Move my strap out of the way. I'm going to turn the fire off before I do actually cook. We're going to come down to a lying position. So let's meet on our mats, lying on our back. Bring the feet into the floor. And let's bring the arms out to shoulder height. And we're relaxing back down. Just feel the weight of the upper body in the mat. And then one knee and then the other come in towards the chest. Let's take hands to knees and gently rock from side to side. And then with knees, ankles and feet stuck together, and it doesn't matter which side you go first, but just allow both legs to fall down to one side. Take that hand and pop it on the top knee and take the gaze down towards the other hand, stretching out at shoulder height. And then just take a moment here in our twist. And then maybe with the use of that hand, let's bring both knees back up towards the chest. And you might want to do a little rock and a reset before sticking knees, ankles and feet together and allowing both legs to fall down to the other side. Maybe popping that hand on top of the, or on the outside of the top knee, and maybe bringing that opposite arm out to shoulder height and gaze in the opposite direction to the direction of the legs. Let's take one more moment. Just enjoying this twist. Our spine will be very happy. And maybe using the hands to bring both knees back up. And into the chest and rocking from side to side, and you're so welcome to stay here, or maybe taking the hands behind the knees and bringing the feet up towards the ceiling, and maybe walking the hands up. Just make sure that you've got a length through the back of the neck here in this happy baby pose. If you're holding on to feet but actually it's making the back of your neck kind of crumple up like this and your gaze turns, goes backwards, you've gone a step too far. So maybe bring your hands down to a different position. But if you can keep a length through that back of the neck, and we're encouraging knees towards armpits, and maybe you can stay still, or maybe taking a little gentle rock from side to side here. This can feel really good in the lower back if you suffer with a tight back. Then this is a really good posture, happy baby pose. Just gently rocking from side to side. Lovely. And then wherever you are, let's release those feet and those legs. Ground both feet back onto the floor, back into the mat. Let's lift up the right leg and hook the right ankle over the left knee. And you can stay here pushing the right knee away, or maybe you want to lift up the left leg. You can bring your right hand through the gap in your legs and just holding onto the back of the left leg, thread the needle. And again, aiming to keep a length through the back of that neck. So again, if this posture has made you crumple up, maybe you don't need to hold on. You can just lift that leg up to wherever feels comfortable. And let's unhook, land that left foot back down, Going to go onto the other side. So ground the right foot into the mat. Left ankle hooks over right knee. And you can stay here, just pressing that knee away, maybe lifting up that right leg. Might want to keep it more bent. Maybe you can reach through that gap and hold on to the back of the right thigh. Again, another intense stretch. Really feel this in your glute muscles, but if you suffer with a tight lower back, it can originate from the glutes and from the hamstrings. So this is a great stretch. We'll spend one more moment here. Lovely. And then let's unhook and land both feet back into the mat. Let's stretch our legs. Let's inhale and bring our arms up and over into a lovely full body stretch. So creating space between toes and fingers. Nice deep breath. And as you exhale, bringing your arms back down along your sides. And let's come into our relaxation. There have been some really intense stretches today. So let's just take a moment to relax down back into the mat, knowing that all that hard work is done. Bringing the close to the eyes. And just noticing, taking this time to notice how the body feels now compared to how it felt at the beginning. And just taking that focus back towards the breath. And just gently breathing in and out through the nose. And as you exhale, just bringing the focus to the feet. Maybe wriggling the toes. But just feel any tension from the feet, from the ankles, just release on that exhale. Notice how the legs feel nice and loose and relaxed. Releasing any tension from the hips on the next outward breath. And then just noticing how your tummy rises and falls with those inhales and exhales. Taking your mind to the natural curve underneath the lower back and feeling the weight of the upper back, the shoulders, as they land deeper into the mat. Chest is relaxed. Releasing any tension from the neck. Maybe you just need to roll the head gently from side to side. And as it lands back, just feel that tension release. And from feeling the weight of the head in the mat, bring your focus to the features of the face. Forehead is smooth. Eyes feel heavy. Maybe giving the jaw a little wriggle from side to side. And on the next exhale, just bring a complete relaxed feeling into all the features of the face. And feel it continue to travel down from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes. And as we spend these last few moments in stillness, you may be able to take your focus to the space in between the two eyebrows. And just gently breathing in and out through the nose as you focus on this space. And then on the next inhale, just breathe in a little bit deeper. And as you exhale, breathe out a little bit further. And bringing some movement into the fingers and the toes. And then do what feels right here, just to bring some movement back into the body. So maybe your arms come up above your head into a full body stretch, or maybe your knees come in towards your chest, just to stretch out that lower back one last time. Maybe you're doing a gentle rock. So do what feels good. And then when you're ready, roll it onto one side. And coming up to a seated position. You're welcome to keep your eyes closed. And then on the next inhale, let's sweep our arms out to the side and up above our heads, palms meet. Heart center. Namaste. Thank you for coming, everybody.